Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today from Kampala in Uganda for this thought from the Bible. It's great to have you here. So this last week has been an interesting week. It's been quite an intense one. This last weekend I was involved in a virtual writers retreat, which involved had opportunities for me to pitch my latest novel to literary agents, as well as have loads of intense seminars, and it was a really good time with some really positive feedback and responses. But it was a pretty emotional time. You know, it's hard putting something you've created out there for people to see. And then, you know, much the same time, I also found out that my husband Dave, currently working over in Liberia, has COVID. Thankfully, not really any bad symptoms. He, just lost his smell and is a little bit tired, but, it's still another thing dropped into that very busy time. And so I decided to craft a little newsletter, an update to let people know what was going on in our lives and how they could pray. And I sent it to Dave before I sent it out to anyone else. And his comment was, "Wow, sounds very dramatic." It's quite true. There's quite a lot of drama going on right now in the world, but also in my life, in Dave's life. It's only 6 weeks now until we leave this beautiful country, Uganda, and head to the UK and then on to Liberia. We are moving across the continent in the middle of a global pandemic, while the country of Uganda is completely locked down, not able to drive our cars or anything, which doesn't really help with kind of selling anything that we don't want to take with us to Liberia. And of course, Dave has COVID 3,000 miles away from where I am, which means he has to stay longer in Liberia before he can come back to Uganda. We just discovered, again at about the same time, that we will have to hotel quarantine when we get back to the UK because Uganda is now a red list country. And all of that on top of the normal work and thinking about transition, thinking about culture shock in a new place that we'll be going to, a reverse culture shock coming back to the UK, planning this trip in the UK when COVID is still very much bubbling away there. It's a pretty busy time. There's quite a lot of added stress right now. I always find it really interesting, those stories that we hear about Christian people who go through extraordinary situations, who go through really crazy and difficult times. And yet through it all, they manage to keep running that race with perseverance, and they keep walking tall, and their faith is never questioned, and they seem like they're just doing so well despite the horrific situations that they may be going through. And it's easy to wonder sometimes, how on earth do they do it? How do they stay firm in their faith when it seems like every possible thing that could go wrong has gone wrong? I think even just a couple of years ago, this situation that I'm in right now with all of these different facets to it would have seemed utterly, utterly beyond me. If you had told me then that this is what I would be going through now, I would have said, not a chance. Like, that's just too hard. There is too much going on. I cannot deal with that. But the interesting thing that I've discovered is I think that there are two secrets for conquering uncertain and trying times. The first secret is that you need to recognize that God gives you strength for the situation that you are in. He doesn't give you strength for the situation that someone else is in, but the situation you find yourself in right at this moment in time. It might be that you're looking at someone else's life and thinking, wow, I would never be strong enough to go through that. Well, right now, you don't have to go through that. So you don't need to have that level of strength. What you need is the strength for the situation that you are facing right now. Now, there's a lovely verse in Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 10 that says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And the thing that I found really interesting there is the tense, because it says, I will strengthen you. Not, I have already given you all of the strength that you will ever need for every situation you will ever face in your life. I will strengthen you. It is an ongoing strengthening. It's an ongoing helping, an ongoing upholding. It's not a one-time for all thing. It is a process of God strengthening us. And it's a bit of a cycle, right? God gives you strength and that makes you stronger. It makes you more able to face something that's harder. But then in that new situation, that leads to a need for more strength, which God willingly gives to us. It is a cycle. We grow stronger as God strengthens us. And that means that we are able to face situations that we could never even have dreamed of facing because of God's process of strengthening us. We need to recognize that God gives us strength for the situation that we're in. But number two is that we need to realize that prayer is powerful and prayer works. See, since sending out that newsletter, I have been absolutely inundated with WhatsApp messages and phone calls and emails from people letting me know that they are standing with us in prayer, that they are standing with Dave in Liberia, praying that he wouldn't have any worse symptoms, that he wouldn't get long COVID, that he would recover really well and really quickly, but also standing with me as I'm here in Uganda looking at everything that needs doing before we leave this place. You know, I'm very aware that there's a lot to do. I'm aware that this is a stressful time, and yet I do not feel stressed. Not even at all. Not even a little bit. I feel peaceful. That, I can tell you, is a miracle. Nothing short of a miracle. As I lay down in bed this week and tucked myself in and started to fall asleep, I just felt engulfed in prayers and in support, as if it was like a tangible thing that I could reach out and touch. Your prayers are powerful and your prayers work. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 17 tells us to pray continually. And I want to encourage you to do that for your own life. Yes, when you are facing a hard situation, be lifting it up in prayer, but also be praying for other people, because you have absolutely no idea of the impact that your prayers have right now at this very moment in time. If you are one of those people who read that newsletter email update and has been praying for me, then I can assure you 100% your prayers are working. We need to recognize that God gives us strength for the situations that we are facing right now. And we need to remember that prayer is powerful and that prayer works. Those are the two secrets for conquering any uncertain and any trying time in your life. God will meet your needs. He has promised to, and your prayers reach him. Your prayers for your life and your prayers for the lives of other people. Keep trusting him for the strength you need and keep on praying. But of course, this is a busy time, and so I have decided, because there's quite a lot on my to-do list, to just drop down to doing one video a week for the last few weeks that I'm here in Uganda. So every Friday, there will be a new thought from the Bible. I would love to see you here. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on these talks. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you on Friday next week.